We are ready to go back to the general debate concerning the report of the evaluation body under item 10. Committee members, the floor is yours for the general debate. Austria, Jamaica, Austria.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, please let us take this opportunity to congratulate all state parties and also the communities behind the elements that have been inscribed in one of the lists or register in the last 2 days. We know it is a great moment of joy and pride for everyone that needs to be celebrated. However, we are very concerned as regards the procedures for inscription and the viability of the list, as well as the credibility of this committee. The whole system is under threat. Some years ago, confronted with similar concerns, the committee took steps for the introduction of the upstream dialogue that should help solve the problem. We still think that it is a good way of helping state parties amend minor issues in their files and improve the information provided. The idea was that no more files should be referred for minor issues, only those that have major deficiencies. And this is, in our view, not a question of the number of criteria not met. Still, there was a gentleman's agreement among the committee not to amend any file with more than 2 criteria not met. We regret that this agreement has not been kept. Our experience in the last 2 days showed us that this experimental procedure with the upstream dialogue has to be adapted. The committee still overturned many decisions for referrals by the evaluation body. Our concern goes towards the credibility of our own criteria, of our own decisions, of the evaluation body, of the committee itself. To end at a more positive note, we welcome the upcoming discussions on the nature and functions of the lists. We hope we find creative new ways of keeping up sustainable lists and registers that are fully in accordance with this wonderful convention. Thank you.
Thank you, Austria. Jamaica.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jamaica would like to reiterate its congratulations and to the evaluation body for the work that it has done. We recognize and we understand the difficulty of examining the number of files that it has had to do, and we commend it for successfully concluding its work during this cycle. Having said that, I would like to remind my esteemed colleagues that the evaluation body makes recommendations. It is the committee that makes the final decision. And having made its recommendations, with due respect, the committee has the ability to make its own input into the final decision. We note with some concern ourselves the weaknesses in some of the nomination files that have been presented for evaluation. And to our mind, it speaks to the need for continued capacity building, particularly in terms of the preparation of files. Having said that, we still would like to end by commending the work of the evaluation body. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Jamaica. Philippines.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. We'd just like to take this opportunity to echo what our ambassador mentioned at the beginning of this item a couple days ago regarding, we noted that the issues of possible decontextualization and over-commercialization repeatedly came up in the evaluation of some files. In order to address this problem that comes up in evaluation of nominations, we had suggested that perhaps some guidance based on the recommendations of the evaluation body be prepared by the Secretariat in order to guide states, parties, and communities in the preparation of files. And we'd also like to support what was mentioned by a distinguished colleague from Jamaica, that we think that targeted capacity building and international assistance really can help improve the nomination process. We have to look at the system holistically, and the aspirations of states, parties, and communities to have elements inscribed on the list, but also, as was mentioned also by the distinguished colleague from Austria, to maintain the credibility of our system and also the clarity of procedures. So in finality, we'd like to again also warmly congratulate all the states, parties, and communities with elements inscribed on the listing mechanisms of the convention. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippines. Le tour c'est pour l'Arménie.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Cette délégation souhaite également féliciter l'organe d'évaluation pour le travail qu'il a effectué durant cette période. Nous avons déjà dit qu'il avait soulevé des questions effectivement récurrentes, mais nous voulons abonder dans le sens du délégué de la Jamaïque et soutenu par d'autres sur la nécessité de renforcer les capacités des États soumissionnaires lorsque ça s'avère nécessaire. Et je crois que les cas, dirons-nous les inscriptions, les dossiers que nous avons eu à traiter attestent effectivement la nécessité d'aller dans ce sens. Mais nous reconnaissons également le travail très pertinent qui a été mené par rapport au processus de dialogue. Sur ce point, l'organe fait des recommandations suggérant d'amender les directives opérationnelles et nous pouvons suivre effectivement ces recommandations. Nous savons également que l'organe propose en quelque sorte de revenir sur l'examen du critère numéro 2, dont l'évaluation se révèle relativement difficile. Et par conséquent, cette délégation partage cette démarche préconisée d'engager un examen de ce critère dans le cadre de la réflexion globale sur les mécanismes des listes. Voilà, en tout cas, merci encore pour le travail qui a été accompli.
Merci l'Arménie. Samia, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Our intervention really is aimed at thanking the Evaluation Board for the good job that was done, as presented in their report. And that was, this is mainly due to the upstream dialogue process that has been introduced, which in our opinion has smoothened the way in which the committee makes its decisions. When I say so, I remember what happened in 2016 in Addis Ababa, that the committee had to sit up to beyond 22 hours because we're just hunting here and there. So this process of the dialogue process, I think, has helped to streamline the way in which the committee makes its decisions. Thank you very much, and I'd like to congratulate them once more. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Zambia. I don't see, oh yes, Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I only would like to support the suggestion made by Philippines to prepare a guidebook, because some of the concepts that we use in our files are difficult to understand. Things like commercialization and folklorization, a term that I learned for the first time at this session. So it may be very useful that what these terms really means for people who are, especially those who write, prepare proposals for the first time. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. I have Poland, Kuwait, and Senegal. Please,
Thank you,
Poland.
Madam Chair. I would like to also, on behalf of the Party of Poland, congratulate the evaluation body for its contribution and work in 2019 evaluation process. And of course, I would like to stress that we are very thankful as the state parties for the efforts in responding to the needs of the state parties by introducing the dialogue mechanism. However, we know that there are still other challenges regarding the nomination process, and at this point, I think that we need to stay focused and be prepared for the next reviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Poland. Kuwait.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also, Kuwait would like to thank the evaluation body on its very hard and professional work. 48 files have been studied and have been recommended, and we thank them for their hard work. The upstream dialogue has proven to be very effective, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Madam Chair, for going through them as quickly as possible. We also would like to thank the Secretariat for their hard work and for their very efficient work. And finally, we'd like to thank the committee members as well for their constructive dialogue and therefore sense of humor sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you. Sénégal.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais également féliciter l'organe et dire ceci. Nous avons mis en place cet organe, mais nous devons l'aider à travailler dans les meilleures conditions. En quoi faisant? En accroissant la crédibilité. Et ça, c'est de la responsabilité de nous, membres du comité. Parce que le comité, comme l'a dit notre collègue de la Jamaïque, est souverain. Mais par nos décisions, par notre façon de réagir, ou nous fragilisons l'organe, ou nous lui rendons plus fort. Vivement que ce soit la dernière phrase. Aidons cet organe à être plus fort et plus crédible. Et je le dis de manière toute franche, je connais ce comité, je l'ai pratiqué pendant plusieurs années, et je pense qu'ils font un travail excellent, en tout cas depuis la mise en place, et je les félicite. Je les félicite véritablement. Merci.
Merci, le Sénégal. Ahora, Cuba tiene la palabra.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. La delegación de Cuba desea resaltar la labor realizada por el comité evaluador en el complejo proceso de analizar tantas y tan diversas propuestas. Al mismo tiempo, agradecemos la opción, es decir, el mecanismo de diálogo provisional incorporado, del cual esperamos más países presentantes puedan beneficiarse. Ciertamente, como ha dicho el honorable delegado de Senegal, debemos apoyar esta labor con el esfuerzo cotidiano, consciente y consecuente de los Estados en la presentación de los expedientes de candidatura y esperamos, pues, que esta propuesta de una guía metodológica pueda ayudar en dicho sentido. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Cuba. China.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My delegation would first of all like to commend the evaluation body for its great jobs for the past year. And we also would like to join the previous speakers on the congratulations on all the submitting states for their inscription or selection and approval of the lists. And we also welcome those good examples that be highlighted by the evaluation bodies. My delegation would like to take notes of some of the issues that were raised by the evaluation body during their work. Firstly, is about the upstream dialogue mechanism. We believe that most of the submitting states benefit from this mechanism, yet it also needs further reflections and observations. So we were a little bit concerned about the criterion, how to select those nomination files need to be applied to these mechanism, and which is still seem to very vague to us. Secondly, is regard to those semantic issues raised by the evaluation bodies to draw our attention, including such as the definition of the intangible cultural heritage, the definition of the community's concern, the ownership, exclusivity, geographical locations, as well as the standardized community consent, and the inconsistency between these different sections of the nomination file. Thirdly, we would like also to emphasize the consistencies of those resolutions and decisions made by either the evaluation body and as well as the community. Last but not least, we would appreciate the job of the evaluation body again for their great job, which we believe would facilitate our overall reflections on the listing mechanism. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, China. Colombia, por favor, tiene la palabra.
Señora Presidenta, muchísimas gracias por la palabra. En primer lugar, pues sumarnos al agradecimiento de los distintos estados partes que ya le han dado al órgano evaluador por el trabajo que han realizado. Si bien se ha abierto las discusiones en el comité, consideramos que es desde la perspectiva del órgano evaluador donde se inician estas discusiones y se alimentan, y sobre ellas es que realmente podemos dar una discusión con respecto a los distintos elementos que van a inscripción. También, por supuesto, queremos felicitar a todos los estados partes que han logrado exitosamente una inscripción. Y finalmente quisiéramos agregar que es bastante importante considerar, como siendo uno de los primeros países de los cuales vamos a presentar un informe de país de implementación de la Convención bajo el nuevo marco de resultados, invitar que unamos la reflexión del marco de resultados también con nuestros mecanismos de lista, y también invitar a un mayor interés sobre el registro de buenas prácticas que consideramos que está en el corazón y en el espíritu de nuestra convención, que es en el trabajo por transformar las actitudes y la conciencia sobre nuestro patrimonio cultural y material. Muchísimas gracias, Presidenta.
Muchas gracias, Colombia. Azerbaiyán.
Thank you, Madam President. We would like to join the previous speakers in congratulating and commending the work of the evaluation body. We do support the evaluation and the work, hard work indeed. But we do understand that their evaluation based on the information provided in the nomination text. And sometimes the information provided leaves a room for interpretation by the experts of the evaluation body, by the committee members, by the state parties that submitted the nomination. In that sense, I think the introduction of the upstream process is indeed a very important tool to clarify those elements that needs additional clarification or information, especially with regard to the criterion R2, which is one of the main criteria that the many countries are experiencing difficulties. So we would appreciate that this upstream process would be further developed in a way that it will enable the state parties to clarify the information, and in which subsequently will help us, the committee members, to make a proper judgment on the nomination dossiers. At the same time, given this difficulties that the countries are facing in responding to the certain criteria, I believe that the capacity building activities of the Secretariat plays an important role, and I would like to echo what has been said by distinguished colleague of Jamaica about the importance of capacity building for further delivering the requirements to the state parties for the nomination process. I would like to also commend the attitude of the committee members to those issues that raised during the consideration of the nominations, and I would like to thank for the constructive cooperation and approach that we faced during this phase. Thank you.
Thank you. Japan.
Thank you, Madam President. Japan would like to thank the effort of the evaluation body and congratulate all the states for their hard work for the inscription. We believe that the upstream dialogue has been done successfully and commend the evaluation body for this effort. We still believe that there is room of improvement on how to select and proceed for the upstream dialogue, and would like to continue this discussion in the effort of the reform process. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. I see no more committee members, so I'll give the floor to Hungary.
Gracias, señora presidenta, por me donar la palabra. And Madam Chair, first let me quickly commend you for the efficient way in which you've been chairing. And also I would like to thank Colombia for the warm welcome and hospitality. Madam Chair, we have been following with great attention the deliberations of the committee under item 10. We note with great satisfaction that at this session, the evaluation body has recommended 31 elements overall for inscription on the lists and the register. This shows that states parties, through careful and thorough preparation, have submitted high-quality nomination files, and we hope to see this positive trend continuing in the future. We also acknowledge the positive effects of the dialogue process. This intermediary step in the evaluation cycle will obviously have benefiting results to the listing system, and we look forward to further streamline this process. It is evident that many nominations face difficulties with criterion R2, and this has been a recurring issue, and we trust that it will also be discussed under item 14. Over-commercialization, as noted by others, has also come up as an issue, and we would certainly welcome more guidance to the states parties on addressing this concern. Madam Chair, I must admit that we feel at unease in general when our processes, rules, and regulations under the Convention, its operational directives are not fully observed, and when the ethical principles meant to complement these two basic texts are not fully followed. Hungary has been very involved in the drafting of the 2003 Convention, and we have served twice on its Intergovernmental Committee. We are currently serving on the World Heritage Committee, and we wish to stress that we view these committees as expert bodies, and in this regard, the credibility of the process for the implementation of the conventions must be respected at all stages, from the work of the evaluation or advisory bodies to the decision-making of the states parties on the committees. We are all collectively responsible for ensuring the sustainability of the Convention and its credibility. Finally, as a strong supporter of this extraordinary normative instrument, we hope that these comments will be received in the constructive spirit in which they are intended. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Hungary. Maintenant, la parole est pour la Suisse.
Madame la Présidente, merci de donner l'opportunité aux États parties observateurs de s'exprimer sur ce point à l'ordre du jour. Notre délégation souhaite également féliciter l'organe d'évaluation et le comité pour son grand travail. Les décisions concernant les inscriptions sur les différentes listes représentent une tâche importante du comité qui nécessite un arbitrage des exigences et des attentes relatives à chaque candidature. Pour ce faire, le comité a besoin de la marge de manœuvre qui lui revient, tout en considérant l'expertise de l'organe d'évaluation. Cet organe fournit non seulement des recommandations concernant l'inscription ou non d'un élément, mais identifie également des enjeux concernant la viabilité de l'élément, la participation des communautés ou certains risques à anticiper comme la folklorisation, la décontextualisation ou la commercialisation par trop de tourisme. La Suisse regrette que dans certaines décisions, le comité ait supprimé ces recommandations spécifiques à l'attention de l'État soumissionnaire. Ces recommandations représentent une orientation précieuse pour mettre en place des mesures de sauvegarde cohérentes et un suivi approprié de l'élément. À ce titre, il apparaît essentiel de maintenir les informations dans les décisions. N'oublions pas que l'inscription d'un élément n'est non seulement la reconnaissance d'un élément, mais aussi le point de départ pour un renforcement de la sauvegarde et une implication des communautés. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Now the floor is for Norway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Norway has followed the discussion in the committee with great interest and wishes to underline that we are aware of the hard work and considerable effort put into this. Thank you for your work to both the committee and the evaluation body. As Norway has pointed out earlier, we believe that the safeguarding practices would be reinforced if the conclusion of the evaluation body be more fully reflected in the discussions, regardless of if the decisions is to be inscribed or not. We think this would be beneficial for all parties involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Norway. Lithuania.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta, por cederme la palabra. Y primero que quisiera agradecer la acogida que hemos recibido por vuestra parte y nos sentimos muy bienvenidos aquí. Muchas gracias. And as a first-time attendee, or first-time observer of the work of this committee, I must tell that I was observing it with a lot of curiosity, and I saw very many beautiful and very interesting nominations that have been inscribed. However, as many observer delegations have underlined in the interventions now, and the same as some members of the committee underlined, there is a question of the credibility and attitude towards the evaluation body. I think this body does a thorough work, and it is an expert-driven body. And so and in the committee, I hear some voices that are trying to protect and to defend this expert-driven method of work of the committee. However, these voices are very solitary. So I hope that after our deliberations, of the committee's deliberations this week and in the future, these voices will no longer be solitary, and it will not convert into 100 years of solitude. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last intervention is for Finland. You have the floor.
Thank you. Finland would like to support the views expressed by Hungary, Switzerland, Norway, and Lithuania. Thank you.
Thank you. It's almost 5:30 p.m., so I will allow the response of the evaluation body tomorrow morning in order to close our session right now. I want to remind the vice chairpersons and rapporteur that the bureau meeting will take place tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the same room, that means NO. And I will now pass the floor to the secretary for some announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight from 6 p.m. there will be a meeting of the ICH NGO Forum Working Group on Ethics in room H1. Also, UNESCO is organizing a panel discussion on the Heritage Emergency Fund, Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage in Crises at 5:45 p.m. in room NO. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm going once again to invite you to the third floor, Agora Lobby, third floor, where we have an ICH practitioners of the cultural practices inscribed in the national list in Colombia, plus we have invited those practitioners of the elements that have been inscribed in the session of the committee. Thank you so much. We have finished our work, and we will see each other tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Have a great evening. Thank you.